Udocx features 5 methods of document acquisition. Each method is fully customizable to meet the needs of our customers. First is the drag-and-drop browser interface available at my.udocx.com. This webpage can also interface with Twain-compatible devices, such as flatbed and sheet-fed scanners. You can send documents to Udocx as email file attachments via any standards-compliant SMTP server, including Office 365. Or you can configure Udocx to function as your email server, allowing for direct, secure data transfer with no third-party relays. And finally, there is the native Udocx interface, the availability of which is dependent upon the make, model, firmware, and installable options that are present on the MFP device. In this video, we will create a Scan to SharePoint folder Udocx application with a direct SMTP interface. The end user will scan physical documents to an email address stored in the MFP address book. Udocx will process the scanned images with optical character recognition, construct an ISO-compliant PDF-A document, and then deliver that PDF to a SharePoint document library. You may create as many of these email address to document library Udocx applications as you need to meet your document archive or business workflow requirements. First, you'll access the Udocx Administrator's portal with any standards-compliant web browser, https://portal.udocx.com/admin/login, and use the credentials provided to you by Fenestre Sales or one of our partners. Once you're logged in, click on Settings in the left pane, and then the Applications tab, and then click Add New Application. Click the drop-down to display a list of the available Udocx applications. Note that this list will differ depending on the Udocx applications that you're evaluating or have licensed. Choose the Scan to SharePoint folder application and click Next. Give the new Udocx application a short descriptive name. In this case, we'll call it Scan to SharePoint Invoices. Don't click Save just yet. We need to define the basic configuration of the application first. Click the Application tab. Paste the URL of the SharePoint document library as it appears in your browser and press Recognize. The web page will parse the URL and automatically fill in the site and folder fields for you. When a Udocx application uses an SMTP interface, pass-through authentication is not possible. Therefore, we must enter the credentials that Udocx will use to communicate with the SharePoint document library. It's best practice for this to be a limited, write-only account and defined as a service account within your organization to prevent password expiration. Depending on the nature of this workflow, you may want to have Udocx generate an email on each successful scan operation. However, this may be impractical for large volume applications. Click Save. We've successfully created a Scan to SharePoint folder application. Now we need to enable and configure the SMTP interface. From the main Settings menu, click on the Email tab. These are the global settings that must be configured before any Udocx application can be email-enabled. Under Email-Enabled Application, enter an SMTP prefix to be used for your organization. This must be a minimum of 4 characters and must not contain any special characters. As this will form part of the SMTP address for all of your email-enabled Udocx applications, it's best practice not to make this prefix unnecessarily long. You must also specify a Udocx-enabled account within your organization. This account will be used by Udocx when processing SMTP messages. Click Save. Next, we're going to edit our Scan to SharePoint Invoices application and click on the Email Enable tab. We check the Enabled box and then give the application a unique identifier that will be used to construct its SMTP email address. The application email address is the SMTP prefix of the organization, a plus sign, and the application ID at mail.udocx.com. This is what you will enter into the address book of the MFP and use when scanning to this Udocx application. Under Allowed Senders, we can control the specific email domains and email addresses that are allowed by this email-enabled application. Emails from senders that are not specified here will be ignored. When Udocx will be used as your SMTP server, you must define one or more users with credentials here. Remember that you must also configure your SMTP client device or application with one of these users when SMTP authentication is enabled. And finally, these are the SMTP connection parameters to use with your SMTP client device or application. Click Save. You have now successfully configured an email-enabled Scan to SharePoint application.